Legal wrong versus moral wrong. Let us understand its difference. Ranveer Allahabadiya is innocent. I repeat, legally speaking, Allahabadiya is innocent. The poor guy went on a show, cracked a joke, and is now being treated as the country's biggest criminal. Even while granting interim protection, the Supreme Court judges passed negative remarks on his upbringing and character. Such kind of behavior is unwarranted from the judges of the apex court. Being an accused, under Article 14 and 21 of the Indian Constitution, he has the presumption of innocence in his favor. Moreover, no matter how cruel or unkind a crime is, it is the duty of the judge to refrain from making personal remarks against the criminal. A judge's job is more or less to see if the act alleged against the person is an offense or not, especially in this case, when the applicant, that is Mr. Ranveer, had appeared before the court for bail. Yet, he was treated as if he was already deemed guilty, and negative remarks were passed against him. It appears that the people of our country and even the judges are unaware about the distinction between a legal wrong and a moral wrong. What Ranveer and his companions did in the show is a moral wrong. Their vulgar jokes and insults do not amount to obscenity under the legal terminology. The Supreme Court itself had defined obscenity in the Apurva Arora case as something that excites lustful thoughts or sexual thoughts in the mind of a reasonable person. Now, let us first come to the remark made by Mr. Alabadia. In the program, he had asked the contestant as follows. He asked, would you rather watch your parents have sex every day for the rest of your life, or would you join in and stop it forever? Now, keep your morals aside for a moment and just logically think, does that question of Mr. Alabadia fit the definition of obscenity as given in the case of Apurva Arora by the Supreme Court? Does that question create lustful or sexual thoughts in you? If we go strictly, the answer is no. His remarks do not constitute obscenity. His question evokes disgust and repulsive feelings, but not at all lustful or sexual. To borrow the quote from Suits, law is a precise endeavor, and that law should be applied clearly and specifically, just like maths, where 1 plus 1 equals 2, or so to say, the presence of all necessary ingredients are necessary, or so to say, essential to call an act as an offense. And so, if the acts or words of Alabadia do not constitute offense amounting to obscenity, then he should not be prosecuted for the same. You see, the judges as well as the common people should understand that there is a vast difference between a moral wrong and a legal wrong. Every moral wrong is not a legal wrong, and every legal wrong is not always a moral wrong. For example, a consensual sex with your friend's wife is not a legally wrong. Under law, only non consensual sex amounts to rape. However, morally, even a consensual sex with your friend's wife is condemnable and wrong. Likewise, Mr. Alabadia's remarks is a highly morally wrong act. He disrespected the pious relation between the parents and children. Even taking it as a joke is sick. However, he was before the apex court today. At least, the judges ought to have shown the countrymen what is legally wrong and what is morally wrong. But they too acted as the general public and couldn't refrain from making personal remarks against the applicant, that is, Mr. Ranveer. You see, such state of judiciary makes me sad. Judges are supposed to be these rational beings who should judge a case independently by keeping aside all their morals and prejudices. The judges ought to decide cases only under the purview of law. If presiding officers start making orders based on their personal beliefs and ideas, then there will no more be law in the country. There is a reason why law is codified through acts. There is a reason why there are provisions for procedure and compliance. All this is done to protect innocent people from prejudices and moral beliefs of a judge. It doesn't matter what he believes in, a judge should pass orders based only on law and the evidence which is brought before him on record. Few years back, the ex Chief Justice also passed a remark stating that a wife is not a husband's property and that she could engage in sexual relationships even outside of the marriage. He was largely criticized by the general public for making such remark because what he said was a morally wrong statement. In India, marriage is a sacred relation. Fidelity and exclusivity are its essential ingredients. Yet legally, his remarks were not wrong. Therefore, the judges who are presiding at constitutional courts have a higher burden of accountability. Whatever they say has a persuasive value for other subordinate courts. Thus, they should carefully use their words in the court proceedings as well as the orders. Otherwise, there is a high chance of those judgments being misconstrued or misinterpreted by the subordinate courts. Now, back to Mr. Alabadia. If that poor guy is considered as a criminal, then why just him? All the panel members who sat there had shared common intention, and they too should be prosecuted. The producer, the director, and even the audience should be prosecuted because they are the people who are also equally responsible for promoting obscenity. And if such remarks or jokes amount to obscenity, then why hasn't the courts have taken action against the other YouTubers, comedians, web series platforms, or many other such people? Under Article 14 of the Indian Constitution, Mr. Alabadia has the right to equality before law. So why is he the only one being prosecuted? The Supreme Court has very well its inherent power under which it can take suo motu action against all the other people and platforms. So why is this lone guy, Mr. Alabadia, treated as a scapegoat? You see, the Supreme Court judge remarked that Mr. Alabadia had something dirty in his mind which has been vomited on the YouTube show. Now, if making such comment amounts to his entire character being disrobed, then same goes for the audience. The audience on YouTube and other platforms which consumed that content are also equally guilty, and perhaps they all have something dirty in their minds. It is not the first time that this has happened. The guys at All India Bakchot AIB have earlier faced similar consequences. Agreed that we are Indians and we have our own culture and customs. It is admitted that such jokes are degenerate and cause harm to the society. But we should also accept that the legislature and the state has not created any such provisions to regulate them. Our legal system is very slow at adapting to the changing times and its crimes. If you want to prosecute people for such acts like the one Mr. Alabadia committed, then first make laws and provisions. Don't criticize him just because he committed a moral wrong. In fact, he didn't even commit any such act. He merely uttered words in a comical environment, expecting that his remark would be taken lightheartedly. Therefore, his intention should also be considered. We all should self introspect and just ask ourselves, are we any morally superior than Mr. Alabadia? Are the judges who made such remarks really that morally superior? So many Indians, men and women, use abusive language towards each other based on mother, father, sister, etc. Those words have become like general expressions. And still, we are all criticizing a guy and prosecuting him of criminal charges for the acts which we all often do on a daily basis. Perhaps condemning him makes us feel better about ourselves. Yet, that is nothing but self deception. Hence, I urge all of you in good faith that next time, before labeling someone as corrupt or sick, just look inside yourself. As far as the judges are concerned, they too should focus more on the legal aspects of a case and should show the world the level of legal competence we have in our country. The whole world is looking at us. Even the junior advocates look up to the apex court for judgments, as well as the judges of subordinate courts look up to the apex court for guidance and inspiration. Therefore, it is the job of the judges of apex court to show through practice what a real judge is. A real judge who, unfettered by his emotions and morals, passes judgments and orders that ensure justice and maintain the dignity of his position.